right, boys. Welcome in week 14. It's good to be back. Missed you guys last week. Dad duties, sometimes they're rough, I'm not going to lie. Went to put back down to sleep. Next thing I knew, it was 11 o'clock at night. My wife did not wake me up. I said, Tyler, I was supposed to record. She's like, I thought you needed to sleep. I said, sleep does not matter when it comes to filming the fantasy blueprint. So sorry to leave you boys hanging. Sorry to leave y'all hanging. Excited to be back this week. A lot to dive into. But before we do that, a couple quick things. One, if you have not signed up or subscribed to the TikTok or YouTube channel, be sure to do that. Leave a comment because we're giving away a free hoodie at the end of the month around Christmas time. So still got plenty of time to enter that. I think, Gabe, you said December 11th, I believe is when we'll cut that. So you still got plenty of time. Be sure to do that. We'll draw names on the live show and kind of let y'all know who the winner is. We'll reach out to you guys and send y'all a new fantasy blueprint hoodie. It's gonna be pretty sick. And then the second thing is, you got to give a shout out to Gabriel when he gets Isaac Tesla on the touchdown in the TikTok channel. Call that crap. So let's go. That's a good way to start the week right there, baby. So we'll see what happens.
CD's close to 100 yards. You got Tesla touchdown. 2 captain picks are going ham right now. You need Dak Prescott here. They're down 27-9, so Dak should get some garbage time points here. Maybe hit CeeDee Lamb on a long touchdown. Be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Be a big winning lineup to start the week on a Thursday. So
CeeDee Lamb did another good catch, about 30, 40 yards right here.
Let's go. We're eating. Well, let's see how Sunday goes. We'll dive into week 14. We talk about afternoon slate here at the Fantasy Blueprint. We'll dive into quarterback values to start. Gabe, our fearless leader, start us off with the QB values of week 14.
All right. I'm going to start you off right here with a tried and true play the last 2 weeks. Tyrod Taylor, 4,900, going against the Miami Dolphins. So in 2 weeks, he had 13.8 the first week. Not too bad. I think he was priced somewhere around 4,500. So he barely outscored his projection there. And then last week, I think he was somewhere around 4,700, and he dropped a 21 burger. So he well outscored his projection there. And he had a rushing touchdown, providing some sneaky rushing upside at 37 years old. I don't know if you know how old he was, but he's getting up there in age, but he's playing well, and he's passing the ball well. So I like Tyrod Taylor. And I went and did some digging because I was curious. I was like, man, what was Tyrod Taylor's best fantasy year? Because he had a few years with the Bills, he had some years with some other teams. So I went back and looked, and 2015, 2016, 2024. He was averaging 19 fantasy points, 19 fantasy points, and 20 fantasy points in those 3 years. So he's not too bad of a quarterback. Now that was in his prime, if you consider him having a good prime.
It's a couple years ago.
Back up, but he's shown you in back-to-back weeks that he can be competitive. They're playing at home against the Dolphins, who have been pretty bad. I looked up some of the next-gen stats, so like some of that stuff. He's averaging 9.1 air yards per game, which is second among qualified quarterbacks. And CeeDee Lamb just almost made a one-handed catch, and I almost just lost my mind. But I think he just broke his leg or something. So I'm just going to keep going. Baker Mayfield against New Orleans Saints, 5,800. Cole, I know you like New Orleans Saints defense. You say they're underrated, but Baker Mayfield in his career is 5-1 versus New Orleans, and he's averaging, where did I wrote it down, 237 yards and 2 touchdowns a game. It's about 17, 18 fantasy points a game against the Saints. And I saw he's getting a lot of his weapons back. He's getting back potentially Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan, and Godwin is back from his
Godwin's starting to play better.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I do like Godwin this week. Baker Mayfield also scrambling at a career-high 15.1% this year on dropbacks, highest in his career. And he also had one game against the Saints last year with 325 yards and 4 touchdowns. So it's a pretty good game. And I'll let you guys. I'll throw it off to you guys for the red. I got one more, but I'm not going to do it because I feel like one of you guys might mention it.
Okay, Cole, go for it, brother.
Yeah, I'm I'm sticking with it till the wheels fall off. I got Jacoby Brissett at 5,700 now. He is playing the Rams, but I'm picking him until he scores under 20. He's had 20 points in his last 7 games, so he's consistently putting up numbers. So there's no stats. There's no reason, that I'm going to pick him. I'm just picking him because he's always been under. He's always been over 20, and he hasn't let me down yet. So I'm going to keep him in.
Yep.
Going with my gut on this one. Second guy is Tyler Shuck, 4,600 against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is ranked 31st against quarterbacks. He's had 19 twice in his last three. He had a bad game in between there. I think it was either 8 or 9, I think. But his receivers look to be improved. Von Vele finally had one of those games that Gabe was talking about either last week or a couple weeks ago. He finally put some numbers up, and he looks to be improved. And Shuck's got better stats on the road, surprisingly. And Tampa Bay is 29th against the pass. So I'll be very intrigued with that price point at 4,600. His salary did go up a little bit compared to last week. So third guy I got Jaden Daniels at 6,000 against Minnesota. I think that's a really interesting price point at 6,000 for such a talented quarterback. Not to take him at 6,000. He's scored over 15 points in every game he's played this year. Granted, he's been injured, and he is a running threat. But if you're going to pick him, you do have the potential limited upside with Minnesota's defense being so decent. So, and they're going to need to be good if they're going to have a terrible offense. So that's my three quarterback picks. Flo, what you got?
Sweet. Well, I got Tyler Shuck as well. I think Tampa Bay's defense is suspect against the pass. They've allowed 10 passing touchdowns in the last 4 games. Shuck's coming off his best start of the season with 239 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 19.4 fantasy points last week. And like you said, he's already had 19 2 weeks prior. So 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's at 19 fantasy points. And I did some digging. The last 4 quarterbacks to go against this Tampa Bay defense: Brissett 23.6, Stafford 22.9, Josh Allen 47.1, and Drake May 19.1. So some high scores in there. I don't think Shuck's going to do anything like Allen did, but there is still some potential to get some points with that defensive matchup. So, and then all three of those guys were 3 times their value. So really like that play a lot this week at a cheaper quarterback at 4,600. Another cheap quarterback I like this week is Shador Sanders at 4,400 against Tennessee, who's 21st to the quarterback position, allowing 18.4 fantasy points per game. So
So
this this is a
this is a
weird
weird.
um, reason to like a guy, but I think this is a personal game for Shador Sanders. He's playing Cam Ward, who was drafted number 1
Like
overall.
that, right?
I think Sanders is he's going to try to prove a point this week. I would not be surprised if he has his best game of the season. There's a point to prove. Sanders usually steps up to the challenge, so I really like the potential of him trying to ball out, prove a point, and make a statement saying I should not have fallen that far in the draft. So interesting play there. Weird way to like a guy, but I do like Shador in proving a point mode. And then the final guy I have. Every time I say this guy does something good, I save it, I clip it, I use it sparingly. Give me Daniel Jones at 6,200 against Jacksonville, who's 24th to the quarterback position at 20.2 fantasy points per game. I love it. This is my favorite play of the weekend, and I'll run through this throughout wide receiver, tight end, all this kind of stuff. But this is my favorite play because Jacksonville is fourth to fantasy running backs, only allowing 82.4 yards per game rushing. I think this is a game that's going to have to fall on Daniel Jones' shoulders, and I think he delivers. I'm thinking 3 touchdown passes this week, boys. I'm talking. This
Mhm.
is
No
legacy game.
rushing touchdown, no vulture, no John JT
He might
vulture.
vulture. Hey, I'll take any points I can get. 2 passing touchdowns, rushing touchdown, don't matter. 3. That's all you got to know. 3. Um, I've talked about this a lot, but Jacksonville's bottom in pressure, sacks against the quarterback. They're bottom third. I'm telling you, boys, the plums are tingling. Daniel Jones,
Man, Cole's gone. I don't know what Cole's got going on, man.
that's all
Unpotential,
right. He's
unbelievable.
probably the dog. He probably not, he honestly he probably just hated the pick. He just doesn't like
Uh,
Daniel Jones, but every time I ride with Daniel Jones, pause, he goes off. So just real pause right there. Just remember that Daniel Jones this week going off. He's the guy to look at.
My last guy, neither of you mentioned him, is Joe Burrow at 6,500 against Buffalo. Mainly
Yeah.
to get a small sample size this year because he's only played like 3 games and he got injured in one of them. So he hasn't really don't have much to go on except what happened last year. So I
Yeah.
looked at his stats last year. He was averaging about 22 fantasy points a game last year. And
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo has been pretty good against quarterbacks, averaging 12 to 13 points per game. So that's pretty solid. But T. Higgins from his concussion is supposed to be back this week. He's got a healthy Jamar Chase, and Chase
Yep.
Brown is back playing well, which I'll talk about later. So I
Yep.
think I'm taking, like you said, I'm taking talent over matchup this week with Joe Burrow at 6,500. I think he can find a way to get a little bit higher than 18 points in a game that has a over under of 53.5. So,
Yeah.
and I think Buffalo is going to run that score up against that Cincinnati defense, obviously at
Yes.
home. So Joe Burrow will be having to drop back a lot, and I like that. I
Yeah.
like the price there for him.
Yeah. And you love oh cool Joe. I mean, pressure's on. They're desperate. I really like that play a lot this week too, as well. So I'll kind of echo you on that for sure. But let's jump to running back positions. Um, this is another one of those weeks where Gabe's talked about this a couple weeks in a row, where it seems like the price point is about right. So you kind of got to make a decision based off of where you can find value in a matchup, where you can find value by volume, because they've kind of got these prices dialed in right now at running back position. So you kind of find your way into some value somewhere across the board. I'll let Gabe start us. Gabe, what you got running back wise?
Yeah, so I'm going with Devin Neal again this week. Like I said, another small sample size. We don't really have much to go off of for his NFL production, but I posted this on the TikTok channel. He's the all-time leading rusher at Kansas. He's also, I think, leads that. He's also the all-time, I think, touchdown leader at Kansas. So, I mean, and he also holds the record for most 100-yard games. He was a fantastic running back in college, and he also has a really high pass catching ceiling with the Saints this year. He's averaging 4 catches a game in the 2 starts that he's played. So you get a pretty solid floor there with him in the pass catcher. Going up against Tampa, so Tampa does a good job limiting running backs on the run with Vita Vea on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But Devin Neal played 82% of the snaps last week. I don't really think there's any competition between Audric Estime and Taysom Hill. We also owe everyone an apology because Taysom Hill was an
Yeah,
absolute ghost last week.
I
I
did.
have no
I
idea
did see
why,
that.
but he did not want to play him for some reason. So that was a big fat whiff on our part. I'm not going to even put that on Cole because I was really high on it as well. I don't know which one of us said it first. So whoever said it first gets
Yeah.
51% of the blame, and then whoever said it second gets 49.
They always say there's a channel called Bob Does Sports. It always says if you say something wrong, to put a hand up, and take blame. They say put a hand up.
Aye.
I take the blame for that when I put the hand up.
It's okay. We both echoed it. It was like the kiss of death. Sound the alarm.
Yeah.
The second guy I have, because there's not a ton of running back on the slate. You're gonna have to find a matchup that you really like and want to ride that running back pause. And the matchup that I think is a very solid matchup for him is Chase Brown.
Hmm.
And he started 5 games this year with Browning at quarterback, and he was averaging 9 points a game with Flacco and Burrow. So the first 2 games of the year, and then like the last 5 or 6, he's averaging 17 a
Yeah.
game. He's doubling almost his fantasy production with a good quarterback. So I mean, I think against Buffalo, who has also been absolutely torched by running backs this year. I'm going to give
Yeah.
you 4 running back games this year. They're averaging about, in these 4 games, these running backs are averaging about combined like 35 points. If you average all their scores together, it's 35. So Sean Tucker
Jeez.
hit him for 37. Achan hit him for 44. Bijan hit him for 36, and then Derrick Henry hit him for 33 in the first game of the year. So Buffalo has done a really poor job at stopping the running back position this year, and that kind of leans into like why their pass defense has been so well. Why would you pass it when you're letting up or you're giving up 141 rush yards a game to the other team? Teams are
Yeah.
absolutely piling through their D line because they lost Ed Oliver pretty early in the season, who was their best defensive
Yep.
lineman and probably their best defensive player besides Matt Milano. So, yeah, they are absolutely weak up front. I don't that doesn't necessarily mean that Cincinnati is strong up front, uh, but it's going to be a battle of two terrible fronts. It's
Yeah.
very funny. That's my two running backs.
Sweet. Cole, what you got?
Sorry, guys, I froze for a second there. The computer lost internet connection.
You just
Um,
didn't like the Daniel
yeah,
Jones pick.
I
It's
mean
okay.
we're talking about Cincinnati and their defense. I'm going with James Cook at 7,800, and the only reason I'm doing that is because Cincinnati's defense has been terrible. It's been abysmal. James Cook's had 20 or more points in his last three. So I think Cincinnati's either 32nd or 31st in every category on defense. I think is what I
Yeah.
see. Um, I'm not really sure how you can get much worse than that. So James Cook's the first guy I got. He's a matchup that stands out to me. The second guy I got is surprisingly is Brees Hall at 6,500 against Miami. Miami's 29th in rush yards allowed per game. They're 20th versus running backs. And Brees Hall's had 14 and 15 in his last two. He always gets good volume, and he typically gets a couple of catches as well. So Brees Hall, I hate picking him, but I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna put him in the lineup this weekend. I hate picking him. He's him and Garrett Wilson, both on the same team, can both give me the give me a
Goose. Give you a good old
just give
goose.
me a real breakdown, man, of the weekend. It hurts. But last guy I got Chase Brown, 6,700 against Buffalo. Buffalo stops the pass but lets up runs, 30th in rushing yards allowed per game. He always has very high volume, and he's a big receiving target. He had 7 catches last game. So 7 catches, 7 points. So
Touchdown.
that
A little bit over a
goes
touchdown.
that goes a long way. So that's the guy. Those are the three guys I've got. Uh, matchup wise, I'd say James Cook is probably the best matchup. With
You're gonna
Brees
have
Hall coming in second.
heavy chalk on James Cook this weekend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're gonna have to make a decision on if you want to go with Josh Allen or James Cook because
Yep.
I feel like both those guys are gonna be played heavily
Yeah.
against Cincinnati. And what's is weird is Josh Allen just set the record for most rushing touchdowns for a quarterback. He
Mm.
just broke Cam Newton's record last week. So you're going to have that on the table as always with
Yeah.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I was
Absolutely.
looking at Brees Hall's. I was looking to see if what's his name is back. Braylon Allen's not back, so Brees Hall's playing over 85% of the snaps. Volume is huge there, like Cole said. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a terrible play against Miami. Miami's defense actually surprisingly has been playing much better
It's been
as we
playing
saw
better.
last
Yeah.
week in New Orleans. Even though Shuck had 19 points, but yeah, they've played better. The best game they had, I think, was probably the Buffalo game when they shut Buffalo down completely,
Yeah.
which was just so strange. But sorry, go ahead, Bridden.
Yeah. That's a weird team, Miami. That's a
They're so weird.
good luck. Yeah. It's kind of like the Carolina Panthers. Like, I don't know. You never know what you're going to get with either one
Yeah,
of them. So,
you don't.
Yeah, that's
um,
right.
I'm with you guys though. James Cook, Chase Brown are probably my favorite matchups. But I did a little deeper dive to give us some deep cuts, maybe some potential values out there. Talked about this guy a couple weeks in a row, Ken Walker the third. You gotta love his volume at 16.33 touches a game the last 3 games. He's outpacing Charbonnet in snaps significantly now by about 10 to 12% the last couple weeks. So I like the consistency on him playing more than Charbonnet. The problem is Charbonnet's getting the touchdowns the last 2 weeks, which is killing him because he's having the yards. He just can't quite get in the end zone, which has been the problem. So maybe he finds his way in the end zone this week. And if he can do that, then you kind of find your value at a running back that's only priced at 5,600.
Kenneth,
What did I say?
no,
Yeah, Kenneth Bone
Walker,
Walker. Yeah, he's
limited
done that a couple times.
he's limited at practice this week with a butt injury. His glute.
Oh, that sounds about right. Yeah, sounds about right. Um,
Britain might be limited with a butt injury after this weekend.
From what he did to you.
yeah. Well, hey, if he ends up not playing, Charbonnet's the play there
Yeah,
at
if he's gonna play,
5,300.
he's
So
limited.
just
I feel
something.
like he's gonna play. He may have just sat down on his chair too hard
Yeah.
during a meeting or something. Who knows?
Yeah, something else. Anyways, that's kind of a not. I wouldn't say that's a deep cut. This is going to be a deep cut at Chris Rodriguez Jr. at 4,700 against Minnesota. That backfield has been a mess all
Oh
year
yeah,
long, all
100%.
year.
That's an
But
understatement.
the last 2 weeks, he's out snapping Bill Krosky by 5 or more touches a game. He seems to be the lead back as far as the running goes. So if he can find the end zone, you might can get some value there with him. But he's playing more snaps. He's touching the ball more than Bill is. And with Minnesota's offense struggling, I think they're going to be able to consistently run the ball. The problem is they also have that third running back lurking around, McNichols. So if the game gets out of hand, they got to pass the ball. McNichols is a guy, but I think game script wise here, it's going to allow Washington to run the ball a little bit because I just don't think Minnesota, even as bad as Washington's defense has been this year, I just don't see Minnesota with these quarterbacks
Yeah,
making much progress at all. So he's a deeper cut this week at 4,700. And then another guy I wanted to talk about. It's a terrible, terrible matchup, but maybe he can break one. Is Ashton Genty at 6,100 against Denver. Awful matchup, but the reason I like him the last 3 weeks, his receptions and targets have gone through the roof. So he's had 6, 8, and 6 receptions, which is a touchdown essentially in the last 3 weeks. It's a bad matchup. I would expect low ownership, but the thing about Ashton is he's always liable to break one. Maybe there's a breakdown in the defense. He can get behind, catch the ball, make a deep run. Maybe he busts a random play.
that's one.
Regardless, there's a chance where at 6,100 with low ownership, with his catching ability in the last 3 weeks, that he could make a play, be a potential value. I don't love it just because of the matchup against Denver, but maybe something to look at if you're looking
Yeah,
to
and
try to do
Denver didn't
something.
look too good last week against
Yeah,
Washington.
that's true. That is
Yeah,
very true. So,
he got torched by Rodriguez scored a touchdown in that game, and Mariota threw for like 2 or 3 touchdowns.
yeah,
Yeah, honestly, should
yeah,
have lost that game.
yeah, they
Going to
should have. So those
yeah,
are some deeper cuts. I think they'll be, you know, I don't know that I would say Ashton Genty's a deep cut, but
no, it's
matchup wise, it's going to be a
deep
deep
because
cut.
it's no, it's deep because it's what's his salary? You said 6,000 something.
6,100 versus Denver.
I mean, you got to get 18 points out of Ashton
Yeah,
Genty. I mean, it's not necessarily a deep cut in terms of value. It's more of a deep cut of a hard matchup, and you got to
yeah,
find the plums to start him. I don't know if I
yeah,
have
no
those.
doubt. I don't have those, but it's just something to look at if you're out there trying to zag somewhere. He
Yeah,
might be a zag. But let's jump to receiver unless you guys have any other running backs. I know Gabe always holsters a couple in his back pocket just in case, but you got
no,
anything else, Gabe?
I didn't have any
Okay.
holstered, and that was it.
I will say Josh Jacobs' price intrigues me at
Oh
6,800.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Josh Jacobs was but he was just too. He's at 7,000. Don't get fooled by the 699 where they have like
Yeah,
the 6,800. It's
yeah,
not. It's at 7,000. He needs 21 points, but I
yep,
do like the price, especially if he gets back to full participation.
yeah,
He'll probably
absolutely,
higher price running back plays, but he's not one of my core four values. But yeah, I like Josh
for sure.
Jacobs.
All right, let's jump to receiver then. Cole, let's change it up. You go first.
All right. Gabe had a good thing. Good thing he said earlier about talent over matchup. With this guy, I'm hoping that the matchup outweighs the talent because if Justin Jefferson has to catch balls from JJ McCarthy, you're really dependent you're really dependent on him to be wide open and not have a little bit of coverage on him. So
Yeah,
I'm really hoping Justin Jefferson at 6,900 against Washington is going to be able to get open some. Washington's 30th versus receivers. They're 31st at passing yards allowed per game. They're 29th in points allowed per game and 31st in total yards allowed. Well, then you start looking at that and you look at the Minnesota offense and you think who typically gets the most yards or who they want to get the most yards. And they're always looking at Justin Jefferson. So I'm expecting him to have a big game against Washington and hopefully be able to get some balls from JJ McCarthy balls. Um,
Balls, you can say balls too many times.
but But second guy I got, I changed it up a little bit. I went with guys I haven't said much this year. There is one guy I've said a couple times this year, but the second guy I've got I haven't mentioned at all this year is Terry McLaurin at 5,200 on the reverse against Minnesota. Um, I know what you're thinking. You're like, why would you pick him against Minnesota and that talented defense? Well, he just put up 22 against the best defense in the league,
Yep.
being Denver. So he's a wide receiver one in return from his injury. Jaden Daniels is coming back from his injury, so I'm expecting the offense to take a jump in production. So Terry McLaurin's an interesting play. He's kind of on the cheaper side for a wide receiver one, which intrigued me. So I went with him. Like I said, if you don't like the matchup, don't play it. I like it, so I'm going to probably end up playing it. But third guy is Devon Vele, 3,700 against Tampa. He finally had his breakout game, like we discussed earlier. He's going to score 5 now that I picked him, but 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 if he doesn't, I'm going to look like a genius. He looked capable last week. He had 8 catches on 8 targets, and Shuck was looking for him. So Tampa Bay allows yards. Obviously, it's a big rivalry game. I'm sure Tampa Bay's going to shade more Olave because Olave's obviously wide receiver one.
Gotta
So
watch Olave. His back has flared up, and so I am concerned about his ability or his availability on Sunday. And there's one thing about Olave is that he has a hard time finishing games, especially when he is injured or when he's not injured. Even if he's healthy, he has a hard time finishing games sometimes. I'm scared to death of Olave at 6,400 against Tampa.
Terrified.
My back typically flares up too when I don't want to go to work. But that's the only 3 receivers I got. I'm expecting Vele, especially if Olave goes down. Vele, if Olave does go down, then Mason Tipton's somebody to look at too. He had some good looks and he's got great speed. So, who's next? Who's taking over after those 3?
I'll give Gabe the nod. Go ahead, buddy.
I got you. This guy has been pretty solid, at least for 1 week this year. He got traded to the Jets from the Colts. They were force feeding him the ball as best they could in the first game he was there. They couldn't get it to him. But I'll be dang if they didn't get it to him last week with 12 targets. Adonai Mitchell at 4,600 got force-fed the ball, playing less snaps than Jerry Jeudy at 86%. John Mechie's playing 97% of the snaps. I mean, that dude's on the field constantly. They definitely like Mechie's blocking way more than they do Mitchell, obviously. That's why he's on the field more. But some of the next-gen stats I was looking into, he's getting 29.8% of the team targets and also 61% of the Jets' passing air yards, meaning, I guess, long depth of target for Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah.
And he had a good game last week, 27 fantasy points. So, like I said, the price at 4,600 with Tyrod Taylor against the Dolphins, I think it's a pretty good price. And Mechie, I think, is 4,500. Like we said before, taking a dart throw on those two. But at that price, to be honest with you, if that Miami and Jets game turns into a first to 30 or something, putting Mechie and Mitchell in your lineup could be one of those stacks that you find yourself on Sunday looking at the $1 million lineup and saying, who the frick is this guy? Why did he do that? Why did he
No
put
doubt.
John Mechie and Adonai Mitchell all in the same lineup and then stacked them like James Cook and Puka Nacua and just flooded his lineup with the chalkiest of chalk. So I've talked myself into maybe running with a Jets pass catching stack. 4 players all under 5,000 salary. Tyrod, Adonai, and Mechie.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna do it.
I like it.
I'm gonna have a team with it. I've
I
said
love it, dude.
When you put it in the atmosphere, you can't be scared, and you can't look back next week and say, "Golly, why didn't I do that? I said it." If it's in the atmosphere, it has to go down on paper.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you clip it like you did that Taysom Hill prediction I had and called me out in front of everybody for to obviously fail? Why don't you put that in the airwaves? Why don't you clip it for TikTok? That 4 guys are going to score a touchdown.
I'm sorry that you had to put your face on TikTok once. My face is on there like 3-4 times a week. I mean, I've had terrible picks before. I'm sorry you feel threatened and victimized by one time.
You can put me all the way out there, man. You expose me.
The only person who's in the jackpot in this channel right now is me. for the picks I've had. My butt is in the jackpot, not you guys. You guys are safe. They're gonna come from my neck, and that's the problem. Uh,
Oh.
so anyway, besides Adonai Mitchell, where I was like rudely derailed for that, Michael Pittman Jr. at 5,400. Josh Downs is questionable with I think a knee injury I saw, but I think he got back to practice this week. He missed the first 2 practices of the week. I was really high on Michael Pittman whenever Downs was questionable just due to the increased volume. You got 3 pass catchers there. Pittman has 60 catches this year, which is a lot of catches. He's also 7th in the league in average depth of target. Not in terms of long depth, short depth. He's one of the shorter reception catchers. He's 7th at shortest catches this year. Alec Pierce has 33 catches and Josh Downs has 40. Um, that's over 100 catches for those 3 guys. They spread the ball around a lot in Indy. That's why I was saying, hoping if Josh Downs was out, maybe some of that volume would head towards Michael Pittman. But he's really not having. He's been up and down. He's had some games with 20. He's had some games with 16. He's never out. He's never had a game above 25 points. But
Yeah.
he's listed at 5,400, which is around 15. I think he can find his way to 20 fantasy points against Indianapolis with Daniel Jones, especially if it becomes a high scoring affair. But in 6 of the 12 games this year, he's gone over 15. So you're pretty safe there in terms of floor to get somewhere around 10 points, even if he doesn't get above 15. He's going to get, like I said, he leads the team in catches. He has 60. He's going to get some volume. He's averaging about 5 catches a game and 7 targets. So he's a safe play with some high upside, I think, against Jacksonville. But my last receiver is I'm going with Chris Godwin, and I think this is probably my favorite wide receiver play this week due to the potential that he's had and the past with Baker Mayfield. This is another guy that we don't have a really large sample size of this year because he was nursing that broken fibula. But I went back to his last 5 years of fantasy performance from 2019 to 2024 with Baker. I think Baker Mayfield was. When did Baker Mayfield get to Tampa? It wasn't 2019, and it was like what 20? Was it 2019?
20.
Even there longer than that.
Well, let's say something real quick. Chris Godwin's a Saints killer as well, so
Oh,
that's
is he?
another thing.
I could
No,
look
yeah.
up his stats versus the Saints, but I didn't. So last week he had 66% of the snaps, and he was at 36% his first week back from injury. So he doubled his snap share last week. I think they were just easing him back in. I think he plays above 70 this week, at least after playing 66. Not a huge jump to expect. He goes up another 4% and is on the field for 3/4 of the game against New Orleans. But like I was saying, 2019 to 2024, he was averaging 20, 16, 17, 15, 12, and then 20 fantasy points per game in those 5 seasons. So, very good receiver. Obviously, everybody knows Chris Godwin has a good connection with Baker Mayfield. Like Cole said, he's a Saints killer. So getting him at 5,300, I think, is a steal coming back from injury, and his price will not be 5,300 after this week. I don't suspect if he has a good game, he'll be above 6,000 at a minimum, like he has been the last 5 years. So get him while you can. Get him while he's hot. 5,300.
I like
Krispy
it.
Kreme. Get him while he's
Baker
hot.
Mayfield joined the Bucks in 2023. Just looked it up.
Okay. It was the quarterback before Baker. Let's see. Who was it?
He's Tom
Tommy.
Brady, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was Tom. Tom loved C. He loves some C God. He loves some C God.
Well, last year I had Godwin on my season long, and he was unbelievable with
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield until he got hurt. So I really like that if he's healthy for sure.
What
Um,
you got, Brandon?
receiver wise for me, I already talked about Daniel Jones. Give me Alec Pierce at 5,100,
Oh,
$300 less.
you're zagging.
Yeah, zagging. Although I do like the Pittman play. It's going to be one of the 2 guys. So I've got Alec Pierce because he's $300 cheaper, save a little bit of salary against Jacksonville. He's 20th to the fantasy wide receiver position, allowing 33.3 fantasy points per game. Hopefully there's enough points for both of those guys. Um, but he's scored 17.8 or higher in 3 of his last 4 weeks. He's had 91% of snaps played in 4 straight games, 91% or higher in 4 straight games, which is actually more than Pittman in all 4 of those matchups. And the targets the last 4 weeks are almost identical. I think you can't go wrong with either one of them, Pierce or Pittman, because as far as the reception goes, the last 4 weeks they're about identical. but the only reason I like Pierce in this matchup is just because he's a little cheaper and he's had about the same production over the last 4 weeks. So I think you can't go wrong there. I've got Vele as well. You guys have talked about him for 3 or 4 weeks now. I'm finally getting on the train. I'm a little late to the party, so I'm not sure that you want me on this team, but I got Vele at 3,700 against Tampa, who's 22nd to receivers, allowing 35.1 fantasy points per game. This was interesting to me. This is not a stat that you guys talked about, so I'm going to bring it up really quickly. So if you look at his last 3 weeks, we know that with the trade of what's it? Seattle. What's his name? He's got a great name. Raheem. Thank you. Sorry. With the trade of him, he's kind of been elevated. So I took a sample size of the last 3 weeks just to look at, what's the stats say. So 3 weeks ago, he had 3 targets, 1 catch, 15 yards. We were a little early on Vele. The next week, targets rose. 7 targets, 3 catches, 37 yards. And then last week, they were force feeding him. 8 targets, 8 catches, 92 yards, and touchdown. That's the trend you like to see. Targets, catches start trending up. Got the touchdown last week as well. Also, if you look last week, he was 21.05% of first read targets, which is a big deal with them having Olave and Juwan Johnson out there as well. So I think that at 3,700 to get a guy coming off a week of 21% of first target reads is incredible. That's a great price for him, and coming off, his basically the best week of his career last week. So, and he's still priced at 3,700. So it's not like he's got a.
Oh, sorry, Brent. I thought you were done.
No, go ahead. You got it.
Did Olave go out of that game last week, Cole? Towards the end, didn't he go out?
Can't remember. I think I may have fell asleep because it was another Sunday loss. So it was Sunday nap
It was
time.
nap time, nappy time.
Sorry, go ahead, finish up, Brent. I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were finished.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, if you look at his first read targets, 10 weeks ago he's at 7%. Last 5 weeks combined, he's at 12%. Last 3 weeks, he's at 16%, and then last week, 21%. So the first read targets have gone up steadily throughout the season. It looked like Shuck really liked him last week, and it's starting to form that connection as you've seen the trend, the numbers go up. So at 3,700, I really like him this week. Did you want to add something, Gabe?
Yeah, I was looking at it. He was dealing with back spasms. He had 7 targets, 3 catches that game. No data to back this up. No reports or anything. Possible back issue flared up like it did at practice, and towards the end of that game, started looking towards Vele, knowing that he not at 100%, which is another possibility this week at 3,700. I think. I mean, I think he's on my radar higher than he was. Just thinking about Olave and his injury history with the Saints.
100%. I mean, he's one hit away from another concussion, Olave. I don't speak that on him, but I'm just saying, we've seen that last year.
It's just
Yeah.
just like,
and this is the deepest cut for me at receiver this week. Pat Bryant, Denver Broncos.
Never even heard
Rookie.
of the guy.
Yeah, rookie out of Illinois. This is deep, boys.
it is deep,
But I was looking at the numbers and I was like, all right, I can make a case for this guy. I like him. He's at the Raiders, which is always a great matchup because they're 28th to the receiver position in fantasy, allowing a whopping 37.3 points to the position. Here's why I like him. Back-to-back weeks of 6+ targets. Played the highest snap count of his career. Obviously, he's a rookie. We know what happens to late round rookies that start getting the feel. They start playing better as they get deeper into the season. So 70% of snaps last week, highest of his career. Out snap. This is where it gets interesting. Out snapped Franklin and Mims Jr. and he's out snapped Mims Jr. in 3 straight weeks. It looks like they're starting to trend towards this rookie who's not necessarily been a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but has put up enough numbers to where you're like, okay, I could see a value play. He's going to be low owned, of course, I could see this being a value play against the Raiders defense, who's been really, really bad. So that's the deep cut. But Pat Bryant, 3,400, rookie out of Illinois, third rounder. I like him this week as a potential
I gotta
slate
stop you
breaker.
there. You
Go for it.
disrespect the Raiders defense. The Raiders defense is not that bad. They're underrated. They had not let up a
Against
100-yard rusher this year until
Oh,
last
I'm
week.
not. I'm not talking about rushing. I'm talking about passing.
Okay,
I'm just talking about
they're
passing.
not very good, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's
No.
not
This is just passing.
a false statement. They're
Yeah,
actually
this is just passing game. I know their run defense has been good. I'm not. I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying through the air, there's potential.
I'm not a Vegas stan, but I do like Max Crosby. I got to stick up for
Yeah,
Max.
yeah,
He's pretty solid. But I want to play devil's advocate. I'm a little scared, only just due to the fact that Denver defense being so good, like we said earlier. I mean, we were saying Denver got shredded by Washington, but I'm a little scared that if Denver gets up early, Las Vegas can move the ball. Your passing volume goes down significantly
yeah.
for Denver. But all the things you
It's a
said are
deep
true.
cut.
It is a deep cut and it is low ownership, and I agree with you. It's not a bad play at the price.
Yep,
Watch the hamstring injury. I just look to see what is just checking some stuff out, see what he was doing. He is questionable with a hammy, so monitor that.
it must have been recent. When did that come out? Because this morning he was cleared.
I don't know.
Hey, if it's a hammy today, don't touch.
I
Run.
know. I think
Or find Cortland Sutton or Franklin to be your value play in that world.
let's see. He was not on the injury report. Issue occurred during Thursday's session, potentially.
Okay, everything I just said about Pat Bryant. Yes, there's value, but not this week with a hamstring. Do not touch him. I've got to reevaluate everything that I just put in my core form plum pick.
He's a full practice participant tomorrow or Saturday. Doing it,
Yeah.
maybe Zach.
Dang, I got to adjust on the fly, boys, but that's how you do it right here at the print. We're going to adjust.
That's just an unfortunate,
Yeah.
injury practice. You did all the right
Yep.
steps. You led yourself to the water. Turns out that water had a little bit of poison in it. You just
Yeah.
didn't know.
I'm slowly choking and dying, but that's okay.
All right.
That's what happens. Hey, look, I know we're getting off topic, but see, I do all of my research at like 2:30 because kids are taking naps. I've worked my pool cleaning day on Thursdays is my pool cleaning day. I've got a quiet hour, and I'm talking about I am so deep in the notes, and I didn't see it. It must have
So
been
no,
later than 2:30.
I gotta say this: if anybody's listening, on a Thursday night, you can't expect us to have the perfect
Yeah,
news. So this is
yeah,
not on you, just because you were wrong on Thursday, 3 days out about an injury. And that's you got to be up to date on these injuries. 2 hours
yeah.
before. So
Which
that's
is why we encourage you follow the TikTok channel because we do post a lot of up to date information on there, and some silly, stupid stuff. But a lot of good information is on there too. So just pay attention to that. If Pat Bryant's a full participant tomorrow, I'm sure we'll have a note there somewhere at some point. Because I'm sure my face will be the next one that gets clipped. Pat Bryant, slate breaker right here. No, I'm just kidding. All right, well, let's go tight ends. I'll go first since I haven't, and I'm gonna have to readjust a few things. So I'm gonna let y'all go first. I've got Brenton Strange at 3,900 versus Indianapolis, who's 28th to tight ends in fantasy, allowing 16.6 fantasy points a game. Last 2 weeks coming off his IR stint, he's had 14.3 and 13.5 fantasy points. Solid coming back from the IR. Targets have been where you want him to be. He's even had a touchdown upon his return last week, I believe. And you just look at the options for Trevor Lawrence. I think Jacoby Myers has been a great addition. Parker Washington's up and down. Brian Thomas has been MIA this season. And you got Travis Hunter, who we know is on IR. So still trying to figure out some things in the passing game. I think Brenton Strange's been a good addition for them the last 2 weeks coming back. So I like him a lot this week. Second guy I've got is Gunnar Helm at 2,900 at Cleveland. Gabe was actually at the game, so I got a little insider scoop last week, last second. Gunnar Helm was announced as a starter in Tennessee last week, so that was a big deal because he was very cheap last week. Didn't have a lot of production, but he did have 7 targets and 6 receptions last week. 6 receptions. That's a touchdown. That's all you need from a guy that's priced at 2,900. So I think there's still value out there for them. And Cam Ward has shown that he doesn't mind going to the tight ends. He's had a good rapport with Okongwu. Look at that. I'm proud of myself.
A Conquo.
Proud of myself. Oh, dang it. I was so close.
He's target. So like you said, Helm has had 6 catches last week. He's had 6 catches on 7 targets back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back weeks, yeah. Yep. So if he gets in the end zone or if he keeps at this pace, I mean, he's a great play at 2,900. And then the third guy I've got, this is kind of more of like a personal preference because I think his price is a little bit too high. I don't know that the value is necessarily there because I think he's been overpriced a lot this season, which is killing me in our MVP picks. But I like Tyler Warren at 5,000 against Jacksonville, who's 31st to the tight ends. We've seen Jacksonville get exposed by tight ends this season a couple times. Brock Bowers went for 40 something. Dalton Schultz had about 20. And then the Cardinals guy, Trey McBride, also had like 18 points in that game. So there definitely is opportunity for him. This is why I'm going to call value here. So if you look at his numbers this season, he's played in 11 games, right? He's only had 2 games with less than 5 targets. So the targets are there. Interesting is he scored a touchdown in 45% of the games he's played in, which is about, I mean, that's pretty close to every other game. He does have the QB sneak potential. Daniel Jones does as well, so I don't know if they'll use him. What'd you say?
Pushy.
Tush push, yes. But this is where I'm going to go out on a limb, and you can clip this. Tyler Warren has a legacy game as well this week, partnered with Daniel Jones. Tyler Warren has a 2-touchdown game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, yeah, I'm plumbing over here. But that is where I'm standing at tight ends. You guys go ahead because I got to readjust a couple things in my core 4.
I already know one of Cole's, so I'm not going to even say it. Freaking Homer. So I'm going to let him keep that one in the pocket for him. My favorite play at tight end this week is Darren Waller at 3,800 for the Miami Dolphins. So last week he played 47% of the snaps. I looked at his snap share earlier in the season. He didn't come off the IR until I think week 4, week 5. He was only playing 50 to 60% of the snaps anyway. So him only playing 47, that's really not a low drop off from what he was already playing at the beginning of the season. But he did have 2 catches on 3 targets for 47 yards and could have had a touchdown. Came very close to catching a touchdown there. He had 4 touchdowns in the first 3 games of the season when he played before his injury. So with Tyreek Hill out, looking for pass catchers in Miami, the New York Jets not solid against tight ends this week. So I expect Darren Waller to have a good game. And I like him. He's my favorite play. Maybe a little foreshadowing there for my core 4 maybe. And then this guy is I'm not stealing your pick, Cole. Don't worry, I'm not stealing. You got Mason Taylor at 3,300 for the New York Jets.
Yep.
His volume towards the beginning of the season were kind of fluctuated. He had a game with 12 targets, which that's when I kind of thought he was going to break out because he followed that up with I think a 9-target game, and I was like, okay, now it's Mason Taylor breakout time. He's about to start. He's about to show up. But that's not what happened. He slowly he just kind of dropped off, and now he's been averaging around 4 or 5 targets. So the volume's not huge there, but maybe a little foreshadowing here. I think Mason Taylor scores a touchdown this week. He's still on the field for 80
baby.
snaps.
Let's go, dude.
So I think he gets in the end zone against the Dolphins.
The plums are tingling tonight, boys.
That's my tingle plums.
I love it. Also,
all right.
Cole, I know you're about to go. Pause real quick. Ryan Flournoy, 45-yard touchdown.
That's odd. That's odd.
Man,
don't have him. I'll tell you that. Don't have Flournoy.
I do have him in a lineup, but
couldn't have predicted a CeeDee Lamb spinal fissure concussion.
Yeah.
Did he get a concussion?
Yeah, dude, he's out.
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, dang. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to watch
sorry,
the game.
Cole. Go ahead, buddy.
No, it's all right.
His fingers up. He was cooked.
Dang. Yeah, Gabe, you're absolutely right. I am going to be a homer. I'm going back to Taysom Hill. No, I'm just kidding. Juwan Johnson at 4,000.
I knew it was gone.
At 4,000, I'm going with Juwan Johnson just because his consistency. He's consistently averaging around. He's averaging or usually around double digits, around 10 points. Last week he had 8, but he had 9 targets, so the opportunities were there. So I'm gonna stick with him against Tampa Bay, obviously because they're good. Like, yeah, I'm a homer. I love the Saints, but the Saints are also gonna be playing behind. The Saints are gonna pass a lot. So you think in that logical reasoning the way that I am. Like, I'm expecting passing. I'm not thinking because I'm not picking them because I like them. Picking them because
The
they're going to
scientific
have to
term for
perform.
that is positive correlation, game script correlation to a pass heavy. That's your scientific DFS term for that.
Right. Well, here's another
I
scientific
like it.
correlation for my second guy. If you make a lot of money, you feel a lot better. Mark Andrews, 4,100 versus Pittsburgh, 27th versus tight ends, just signed a 3-year extension to
Saw that.
stay with the Ravens. So he just got paid. So what happens when you get paid? Let's think as an NFL owner. You just paid an extremely old tight end a lot of money to stay as your tight end for the next 3 years. What is that owner telling John Harbaugh right now? Got to
Throw it to
feed
him.
him. Got to feed him.
Yeah.
Got to show him why we paid him. So I'm expecting Mark Andrews to get. I'm gonna say Mark Andrews gets a touchdown this week.
Daggum, we need to just throw this all in a parlay and see what happens.
Tight ends. Tight ends are in the
Yeah.
run.
Good grief.
Yep.
Let's go.
So third guy I got Zach Ertz, 4,500 against Minnesota. I went Washington heavy for my picks too this week, which is surprising with how good of a defense Minnesota is. But Zach Ertz had 23 last game. Minnesota is 17th versus tight ends, so they're mid level. I mean, almost dead in the middle. But Zach Ertz has always had a good connection with Jaden Daniels and always been productive with Jaden Daniels playing most of the time. So I'm expecting Zach Ertz. He's not going to put up 23. He's not Trey McBride, and Trey McBride's salary
You
is
say
that
that
of a
game
top
last.
end receiver. Huh?
You say that he had a pretty good game last week.
Yeah, he
That's
had
what
a
I
great
just
game
said.
last week.
I just
Yeah.
said he had 23. He ain't gonna do that every week though. He's gonna. I'm expecting him to
Oh,
have.
I thought you said he's not going to do it at all. I was like,
I think his ceiling's gonna be 12 to 15. That's what I think it's gonna be this week.
okay.
Um,
30 burger incoming.
Trade I'll have him in my lineup or in some lineup. So, dude, Trey McBride's price is insane. Have y'all
Oh yeah,
seen that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, that much for a
8,000.
tight end is
That's a wide receiver
insane.
one price. That's what we were saying earlier in the season, man. He was at 6,800. I thought that was absolute highway robbery. 6,800. Just
Speaking of high prices, how about JSN last week? We
yeah.
we did mention Gabe did mention he was scared to pick JSN last week. I think, and he had what, 4?
No,
Yeah.
our three no touchies were Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey, and Jack Smith and Jigba because they were so highly priced and had terrible matchups. And now that's not like going on a limb and saying something crazy, but
Yeah.
you do have to eliminate some of those high priced guys and find the ones you want to play.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody in the $1 million lineup had those three guys in their lineup. I'm guaranteed it.
Which is
Yeah.
amazing to think about how good those guys have been this year. But
Yeah, usually they're matchup proof, but not last week.
yeah, so those are my 3 tight ends I got. Nothing special. All mid level. I don't want to go too deep of a cut. Gunnar Helm is interesting with the rookie to rookie connection. Um, Gabe, you were at the game. This is going to be another receiver question. Did Xavier Restrepo get into the game?
I never saw him.
Okay.
The Titans were on the field for probably 20% of the game.
Yeah. He played briefly. I looked at his offensive snap count. It was very low.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I thought he was trending
also,
up. We talked about him last week, but I guess he's
We
not.
did
But
we did talk about him last week, just potentially if Io Manor was out, the Io Manor played. I say that loosely. He was out there.
yeah, he's been out there for about 4 weeks collecting a check.
Yeah.
that's all right. I would be too.
I would be as well for sure. All right, let's jump to core four. But before we do that, real quick, just as you're scrambling, checking injuries, Marvin Pearson will practice today. If he does not play, you got to play Michael Wilson. Just
Yeah.
a quick reminder there. He's been
Yeah,
awesome without Marvin Harrison in the lineup, so just something to think about.
yeah, I like that.
Um,
I was going to mention that as well, Britton. You beat me to it. You little
yeah,
sneaky snake.
yeah. Well, you're trying to play catch up, so putting kids to bed. But all right, let's go core four. Let's run through this quickly. I will adjust my core four. But right now it's Pat Bryant 3,400. Obviously with a hamstring injury, I'm terrified. Brenton Strange, Alec Pierce, and RJ Harvey are my core four. Gabe, what you got?
I'm gonna give a little in honor of the Alabama playing in the SEC championship this Saturday. I'm gonna give you a little Kane Womack action.
Let's go.
I'm gonna go with, if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Go with Tyrod Taylor 4,900, and then go Chris Godwin 5,300, and I'll go Devin Neal 5,100, and then Darren Waller 3,800. However, if Chris Olave doesn't play, I might switch out Godwin with Vele.
Bailey. Yeah, I like it.
I just dialed up the sickest blitz you've ever seen.
Yeah. I thought you were about to go like core four straight Alabama guys in honor of the SEC
I was too.
championship.
I love that he puts his little play sheet above his mouth, and it's like a little index card. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's tiny. It's the smallest one I've ever seen.
I was trying to hit my
Pause.
Kalen DeBoer confused face the whole time where he sits on the sideline just like,
I have one of
Yeah.
those vests. I think I might break it out. If we win, I'm breaking out the Kill and DeBoer black vest for
Let's
the
do it,
Alabama.
dude.
I'm doing it.
is it a black hoodie or a black vest?
Go with the black vest, like a black puffer vest.
Womack's got the black vest. You said DeBoer.
Oh, sorry, Womack.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Womack.
There you go.
Sorry.
Man, I love some
Wow,
Kane
I
Womack.
completely butchered that. Sorry.
That's all
I
right.
love some Womack, man. Go Jags. Even though he left us. It's okay though, I understand. I would too. My core four is Jacoby Brissett, Chase Brown, Devon Vele, and Jawan Johnson.
I was a little scared for a second, Cole, because I was the second guy was pretty high. I was like, oh yeah, baby, we're about to go classic
They're
Cole.
going back high.
But you
No.
you redeemed yourself. You totally redeemed yourself there. All right, let's go plum picks. I'll start us if y'all will allow this. I know that oftentimes I get ridiculed for my plum picks, but I'm going Tyler Warren here at my plum picks. The reason why he's having 2 touchdowns this weekend. Does that consider plum worthy? If not, I can adjust.
That's what you feel in your plums. 2 touchdowns is plum
Yeah,
worthy.
that's plums. That's
One for
Okay.
each plum.
Yeah, one for each.
Yeah, one for each plum. Yeah, that's right. All right, Gabe, what you got?
Mason Taylor, 1 touchdown against Miami. I think he
Let's do
finds
it.
Little zag from the 2 receivers there. His price is just really cheap, and I'm just waiting for that game where he pops for 15.
Yeah,
I think the week.
perfect. Cole, what you got?
I'm taking Sean Tucker.
Sean Tucker.
Sean Tucker. Going for a touchdown.
expecting-
Goal line against the Saints.
You expecting Bucky Irving to be limited?
I gotta hear the reasoning for this one.
Nope.
Yeah.
Sean Tucker.
Okay. I like it. That is big plums right there. You're dragging wheelbarrow for those for sure. All right, let's go AI optimal lineup real quick. So AI optimal lineup this week has Josh Allen at the quarterback position, Ashton Genty at running back 1, Aaron Jones Sr. at running back 2, Adonai Mitchell receiver, Puka Nakua receiver, Jamar Chase receiver, tight end Evan Ingram. We did not talk about him, but he had one of his better weeks last week, and he's priced at 3,400. Another guy to keep your eye on. Flex, this is a 2 tight end lineup. AJ Barner at 3,200, and then the Commanders defense at 2,800, which I've seen enough of the Commanders to say that is a very high price for the Commanders defense. But here's our optimal lineups. Gabe, will you start us off optimal?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm going to roll out the timeless veteran Tyrod Taylor at 4,900, and then I'm going to roll with James Cook 7,800. Little zag onto Josh Allen this weekend.
I like it.
And I'm going to go Devin Neal 5,100. Jamar Chase 8,200 against Buffalo, even with T. Higgins coming back. I like Chase there. And then I'm going to go Chris Godwin 5,300. Devon Vele 3,700, and then my core 4 tight end Darren Waller 3,800, And a little sneaky flex pick here, go Puka Nakua. I say
Mm,
sneaky because usually I don't like to start wide receivers in my flex spot. I like to roll
yeah.
out three running back lineups, but against Arizona, I think he's one of those high priced guys that could potentially break the slate, Puka.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I agree.
Falcons D against Seattle. Maybe the Falcons defense has been very good at pressuring the passer
Hmm.
this year. I think they have like over 40 sacks. So
Yeah.
uh, playing in Atlanta in the dome, probably be rocking some black jerseys. I know Halloween's past, but maybe Sam Darnold sees some ghosts.
Yeah. Hey, he does it a couple times a season, so maybe this is one of them. Cole,
I
what you
know.
got?
All right, guys, my roommate's causing a ruckus. I'm gonna go over this real quick. Jacoby Brissett at 5,700. Chase Brown at 6,700. James Cook the third, 7,800. Justin Jefferson 6,900. Scary Terry McLaurin 5,200. Devon Vele at 3,700. Jawan Johnson at 4,000. Bucky Irving at 7,000, and the Jaguars defense.
I like it. All right, so I've got Daniel Jones at 6,200. 3 touchdown week for him. Sound the alarms. James Cook, all three of us. I'm very concerned now. Devon Achan. I've got Pat Bryant, which that's probably going to get adjusted. I've got Alec Pierce at 5,100. Jacoby Myers at 5,700. Think that could be a potential good play, especially with Sauce Gardner out. I've got Tyler Warren, 2 touchdown Tyler this week. I've got RJ Harvey as my flex, and I've got the Saints defense at 2,300. That's my optimal lineups this week. Any no touchies you want to discuss before we jump? Because I know we're a little over our 50-minute mark.
No touchies this weekend. Let me take a quick look here. Um, mm, Probably Geno Smith. If I had to be honest with you. I
Yeah,
don't really like Geno versus Denver. I think they've already played once this year. No, I don't really have many. Oh, I do actually. Chicago versus Green Bay. I don't like it's in Green Bay too. I bet it's going to be freezing.
yeah,
I don't like that game at all as far as a stack around it. So I'm staying
yeah,
away from Chicago Green Bay. I know Green Bay will probably score some points, but I'm staying away from Chicago players is what I mean.
yeah. Odunze is questionable this week as well. If he's out, DJ Moore's got to look at it. 5,003 or 400, somewhere around there. My no touchy this week is going to be Jonathan Taylor at 9,300. Very high against one of the better rushing defenses out there. Cole,
Debo Samuel.
Debo Samuel.
No reason other than
Oh, if you haven't been following us for the last two years, Debo Samuel is a regular no touchy for Cole Wagner.
Cole,
arch
yeah,
nemesis, Debo Samuel. He should be a no
I
touch
hear
for
you.
y'all too. As high as production is like 15 points.
that's such a lie. That's such a lie. He's got 4 games with over 20 points this year. I can't. You're just a hater, dude. You're just a hater on Debo. You're just a hater.
I
Fine,
get it.
I get it.
He's gonna debone you.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up this week 14 slate. It's been awesome. I had a
1 second,
oh,
Brenton.
all right, what
I
you got?
forgot this. I want to say something about Blake Groupie real quick, the former Saints kicker. The ego problem in the NFL needs to be addressed because he got cut for being so bad from the Saints, from the New Orleans Saints, and signed with the Colts. I think who was it? It was with the Colts because they said wait until he misses his first high pressure kick. He said he's ready to start taking quote meaningful kicks.
Just leave it at that, right?
Well, I mean, I can't wait for him to miss one, and then he's going to end up with Pat McAfee just absolutely going insane on him for missing
Uh,
kicks on his show.
hundred,
The
a
comment
hundred percent.
the comment underneath it was now he gets to miss meaningful kicks.
I
Oh
don't know what
man,
it is, man, but it's like you don't want to make you don't want to make an enemy with New Orleans fan base. That is,
Have to be okay. We gotta go. We gotta jump. We're
yeah,
going too
yeah.
long. We're getting cut off right now. But you have to have an ego problem as a kicker because that's the only way you can have the stones to make those kicks. Is you have to have an equal
100%.
problem, and
Doesn't make them.
that's the only reason I think Connor Talty has a chance at Alabama. It's because that dude thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread and air fryers.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Week 14's a wrap. Good luck, everybody. We will catch you in week 15. We're out. See y'all.